Hi Midhun.
Hello.
Welcome to Film Companion South.
Thank you.
Let me start with one question. I just finished interviewing Jayaram sir maybe a couple of hours ago.
Okay.
And I was very surprised the way he narrated your narration.
All right.
Okay, when he was talking about how you narrated Ozler to him, he said the first question he asked you was, "Are you sure you want me in this film?"
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and he is a superstar.
Yeah.
You know, for us he's a superstar.
Yeah, of course. To me as well, he's a superstar.
To all of us, he's a superstar speaking with that kind of doubt was a little shocking for me.
Okay.
Was that your reaction as well when he seemed a little unsure about this?
I was actually a bit surprised, but he at that time he was taking a break from Malayalam films altogether. He was focusing on Telugu, Tamil, and even he acted in Kannada.
Yeah.
So when I called him, he said, "I'm not doing any movies in Malayalam, but since it's you, I would come and listen to the narration." Then he came and listened to my the whole narration. Then he asked me, "Are you sure
you want me?
Yeah, you want me in this film as Abraham Ozler?" Then I said, "Why not? Why not you?" Then he was like, "I haven't done these sort of films in a long while."
Yeah.
Then I said, "That is exactly why I approached you.
Yeah.
I want this film to be so fresh." So actually the trick is when I thought about Anupama Chopra, when we at the initial discussion stages, we want a hero who hasn't done so many dark films to play the lead role in that.
The last person you would think at that time would have been.
Yeah. So the same approach I applied here as well. So Jayaram sir was surprised a bit. Then I said, "You are our Abraham Ozler. There is no turning back now. Did you like the story?" Then he said, "Fine, I'm okay with the story." Then again he telephoned me a couple of days later, and he repeated the same question. "Are you sure I'm the right guy for this?" Then I said, my answer was the same. "You are the right person. We came looking for you, and since you like the story, there is nothing else to think about. Let's roll." So after he joined the sets for a couple of days, the initial shooting days, we had to do a little extra work to get him into the character, for us to bond and everything.
Yeah.
And from day 3 onwards, he was
Ozler. Yeah.
And now at this point, when I look back, I cannot think of someone else playing Abraham Ozler.
Correct. Yeah.
I'm so happy and satisfied with his performance.
Yeah, but until you met him, or in the process of writing the script, at what stage did his face start taking over Ozler's face?
My strategy of casting is comparatively a bit different. I guess I don't write for the actors. My policy is you finish the script, then you get the options 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the age, everything doesn't matter, because small tweakings in the screenplay, with the help of small tweakings in the screenplay,
leave it flexible.
Yeah, I always leave it open. So this is not my script. This is written by a doctor, an ortho surgeon from Wayanad. His name is Dr. Rendir. So once the script was ready with my inputs, and everybody has read it, and when we sat down for the casting, I took everybody's opinions. Then a lot of suggestions came. Even I thought of a lot of suggestions, 1, 2, 3, 4 options. And finally, I asked this daring question: shall we go with Jayaram? Then everybody was surprised. Then majority of them was happy, because they all sensed that this film would get a fresh look. And that is how, that is what exactly happened. So the casting came a bit later, after finalizing the whole storyline. But when we landed on Jayaram, then everybody was happy with our choice.
Yeah, so I'm also one of that, because until you see the first look, or until you start reading the news, it's an unbelievable combination. Yeah. You don't think it will ever happen. In the wildest imagination, you don't think these two people are going to come together. Yeah. And even when these two come together, I think now after Anupama Chopra, you've become the thriller guy. Okay. Just like how they say Jeetu was the twist guy, you've become the thriller guy. But I think even now, 70% of your scripts are comedies. Yes. Most of them are family comedies. Yes. But that is the film that you probably expect you to make with Jayaram sir. Okay. But it's, again, you surprised us with a totally different thriller. Yeah. And a thriller where it's not an action role either. Right? He's playing his age. Yeah. He's a very muted, subdued character. Yeah. And if I can mention it, he's Insomniac.
Yeah.
So tell me, what was, because you just said a doctor who's not even from your profession came to you and narrated a story to you.
Yes.
But there must have been something that immediately struck you, right? Because it's a difficult process otherwise. So what was that?
The thing which I liked the most about Abraham Ozler is the investigator is a very matured guy, a senior guy. In Anjam Badira, the investigator is a youngster.
Yeah.
But in Abraham Ozler, this guy is one of the senior most police officers.
In ACP, right?
Yeah, senior most police officers in Trichur district. Plus, he's a family man and he's fighting his own personal demons. So altogether it's a complex character. From the trailer and all, you would understand that it's this person is a very complex character. So I needed a seasoned actor to portray this particular character, and again I need someone who is fresh. So before I announced this project, everybody thought, yeah, Midhun Manuel and Jayaram, they are teaming up. So it must be for a comedy film. And some news spread like that. Okay. Some names the online guys invented, and some comedy names, posters, everything was all over internet. And when I announced a thriller, everybody was actually surprised.
Yeah.
And that is what the reaction I really wanted.
Yeah. And what about the name? Of course, now everybody asks you about how this is your 7th or 8th film that starts with an A. But it's a very peculiar name. It kind of gets you a little confused as to what is his...
Ozler.
Yeah, where is he coming from?
Okay.
Is he German descent? Is he Jewish descent? You don't know where he gets his name from, right?
I asked the writer, Dr. Rendhir, the same question. Ozler, that's a very peculiar kind of name. So, who is Ozler? In reality, in history books, who is Ozler? Then he said, you can Google it. It's actually William Ozler. That's the guy's name. And he's a Canadian physician.
Okay.
He is considered to be the father of modern medicine by so many medical practitioners and medical students and everybody. So, in our story, Abraham Ozler's father, he's a doctor. And and he thought his son also would become a famous doctor like him. So he named his son as Abraham Ozler. But this guy took a different track. He went on and became a police officer. But that name is a name given by his father. This is the backstory we actually had for him. We couldn't mention that anywhere in the film since you asked.
This is official.
Yeah, this is official. This is how we finalize the name, Abraham Ozler.
When you have the kind of success that you had, like with a film like Anjam Badira, which is among the biggest hits of the last decade, it's almost like people have forgotten what you've done before that. And your image and your expectations, even if you talk about a film like Garudan or whatever, has come from the fact that now you're a fantastic thriller writer.
Yeah.
And they're expecting certain things from this movie. Maybe some parts might overlap, some parts don't. But how do you deal with that expectation? Do you have to kind of manage the crowd and tell them, okay, this is not Anjam Badira. This is something else. Well, how do you deal with that responsibility?
Everybody asks me in person, through messages, over the phone, in the comment section. Everybody asks me, is this a film like Anjam Badira?
And when they ask this, what do they mean? Is it like Anjam Badira? Is it about a serial killer?
I don't know. Maybe the whole cinematic experience,
the mood,
maybe the treatment, maybe the mood. Because Anjam Badira had got a lot of theatrical stuff in that.
Yeah, okay. Little scary horror.
The scary elements were there. Then we played some gimmicks using a mask, a wolf mask that was scary in the theaters. Then in sound design, we had a lot of theatrical impact. But Anjam Badira is done once and for all. That's my answer to all those comparisons.
Except when you make the second part.
Yeah. I won't be doing one more Anjam Badira again except the second part.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I will be doing, if ever I am doing a remake of Anjam Badira in any other language, then I'll be recreating Anjam Badira again. But Abraham Ozler is entirely different from Anjam Badira. Treatment-wise, story-wise, pattern-wise. Some common mystery, thriller elements are there. But Anjam Badira, I would like to call it as an emotional crime drama.
No, Ozler.
Sorry, Abraham Ozler. I would like to call it as an emotional crime drama. Anjam Badira was an edge of the seat thriller.
Yeah.
That's how the critics and people called it. But On the contrary, Abraham Ozler is going to be an emotional crime drama. Thrills would be there, suspenses would be there, but we are dealing with an entirely different set of plots here. So many characters are there, their emotions are there, then so many surprisingly wonderful performances are there. Then I think the doctor has written well so many emotional layers of so many characters. So this film is going to be a bit emotional. We can call it a thriller, we can call it a crime drama, we can call it a medical crime drama, but in the foreground, it's always going to be emotions when it comes to Ozler.
And when you're saying emotional, do you also mean that it's a personal movie because it goes a lot into the main character? Is it just about his emotions, or is it overall
overall so many characters and so many characters with so many good reasons, motives and backstories and their emotions. Their emotions overlapping and intertwining. Then when it comes to especially the second half, I think I have made a good drama film. That's why that's how I like to.
More than a thriller, you would prefer to be
a drama. A crime drama.
Just a follow-up question to that is how even Jude, right? Even Jude, he chose to work with a doctor who's completely out of the industry for Saras, right? Same, you've also done the same where somebody who's not really connected to the film world comes to you and narrates a script and you immediately liked it, right? That's why you went ahead to such a stage. First of all, what are the advantages of an outsider writing a movie script? And same way, does it involve a lot of craft to bring it to a cinematic form?
It depends. Some writers, if I'm dealing with a seasoned writer, then he knows the ins and outs of an industrial script, a screenplay. So the job would be a little less. But since a newcomer is writing it, he would be having the whole story. But we will have to just tweak some, monitor some scene construction, some dialogue construction. Then we have to trim some edges, cut some corners. Those sort of work we have to do. But that is a director's job. He is incorporating the director's vision into another writer's script. Of course, that is a story, but the director is, he is absorbing, he might be having a different take on the writer's story. So the writer has to tweak and modify the story according to the director's vision. So that happened with all the outside scripts I worked with. And when I work with other directors, the same thing happens. So with this script, I had to put a little more inputs. But when Doctor writes the next script, he knows.
It will come somewhere in the middle.
He knows the game.
So, but do you feel like, okay, because he's not really involved, you already have almost 10-15 years of screenplay writing experience, right? Maybe when you started 15 years ago, did you feel like, okay, there was no limitations to your thoughts? You are not getting frustrated by the filmmaking process. You don't know the difficulties of the filmmaking process. So you must have had a lot more freedom in thought, right? Same way, do you feel the same? The doctor who wrote it, did you feel he also came with that? He's not thinking about 1,000 people crowd or this is going to be a night call sheet or a double call sheet or anything of that.
See, when I worked with Jude for the first time, I didn't know anything. I hadn't even attended a film shooting in my entire life before writing Om Shanti Oshana. I hadn't even watched a cinema shooting from a distance. So when I wrote, I was like the unplugged version of myself. I didn't have to think about any technical complications or, as you said, the crowd or the night extra call sheet or anything. Then Jude told me, you don't think about anything, any technicalities right now. That we will discuss at the second draft stage. Keep on writing. So when Doctor came with the script, I didn't discourage him on any grounds. I said, keep on writing, you bring in your story in the best form. Then we will have a second draft. Then I'll explain to you certain do's and don'ts. So then after completing the script and after attending the shoot, now he knows. He has reached where I reached after Om Shanti Oshana. Every newbie writer, he has to write a script, then experience the shoot, then watch the final out. Then he will get the whole idea how to write a script for shooting. So initially when I came, I faced the same thing. I didn't think about anything. But now when I write, I think about so many things. We are restricted, but can't help it. It's like that. When I say fight is happening in the foreground and the background, 1,000 people are witnessing. And I would be like, no way, no
20
way.
people.
Yeah, maybe 100 people. Fine, let's go with 100.
So now it's a process of completely forgetting that part, where you're not worrying about the limitations, and just write the writing phase, worry about all that later.
Yeah, later.
Okay.
So first of all, when I talk with new writers, emerging writers, I tell them, you don't worry about execution at the writing stage. If you start worrying about the execution at the writing stage itself, you won't be able to write at all. So just finish the writing. Then if the director is good, he will have ways to, get the impact of what you have written using so many different tools in a less expensive manner.
But at least when it comes to, I can only ask you this question because you are the only person who will have the opposites. Okay, you have a movie like Anjam Padira or Ozler, even though I haven't seen it, where people are going to look at logic and detail, and that they're going to watch it with 5 times more like microscope.
Very focused.
Yeah, compared to Ardor 2.
Yeah.
Here it's the world. Here actually logic is the problem. If you add logic, then the movie starts falling down.
Yeah.
And here it's the other opposite. How do you get into the mindset for this versus the mindset of this?
Initially, when I thought about getting into cinema industry, movie industry, I wanted to be a thriller writer.
Oh, I didn't know this. Okay.
That was my dream, to become a thriller writer, because the films I watch, the books I read, all belong to some or one or another kind of thriller. Like action thrillers or legal thrillers or medical thrillers or plain thrillers. I like thrillers a lot. I read and watch thrillers.
Frederick Fawcett, those kind of
Frederick Fawcett, John Grisham, Michael Crichton, all those thriller writers.
Legal thrillers.
All kind of thrillers I read. So, and I watch also. So when I got into Malayalam cinema, I wanted to be a thriller writer. But I met so many people. I narrated different stories. Some of them were thrillers, and finally through Aju Varghese, I met Jude, and I narrated a simple story to him. I narrated a couple of other stories, but he didn't like them. Then finally, when on the way to meeting a producer, I narrated, I'm going to meet a producer. I met him accidentally. It was a chance meeting. So I told him, I'm going to narrate this story. So then he said, what is the story? Then I narrated the story of Om Shanti Oshana.
But what was that?
Om Shanti Oshana.
No, but that one line that you would have said.
No, the whole story. The whole idea, I bounced. Then he said, this is the story I'm looking for. I said, what? This is a very small story. No, I want this. This is the story I'm looking for. And if somebody is directing this film, it's going to be me, nobody else. Then I said, fine. I'll tell that I have a director as well. Then I narrated the story to the producer. They liked it. Then the project started into production, went into production. Then I was like, this is the most simplest story I have ever written till this day. And it got into, and everybody liked it. I was surprised. Then when the movie was released, I was in the theater for the first show, watching with the crowd, and people laughed for my comedy numbers. Then I was like, actually initially I was suspicious. Would people laugh for this? Is this actually the comedy they want? Then once people started laughing, then I was like, okay, I can be a comedy writer. Yeah, a comedy writer. Then I got stuck there. I'm not regretting that. I got stuck there. Then I made Aad, then I made Anmaria. Then all the films till Argentina Fans, everything was related. Everything was like one or other kind of.
Aad was before Argentina.
Yeah, before Argentina. Then with then Aad and all, I think I touched the peak of my humor writing over there. I don't know. I haven't attempted humor after that, slapstick humor. So I thought, okay, after Argentina, I thought, now let's go back to
where you came from.
Where I belong.
Yeah, where I belong. Yeah.
Then I wrote Anjam Padira. That's actually where I belong, I feel. But wherever I go, you won't believe, everybody is asking about the third part of Aad.
Yeah.
A lot of kids, teenagers, families, everybody wants. None of my other films all want the third part of Aad. That is the impact you can have with a comedy entertainer.
Correct.
And as you said, it is not at all logical. And I always tell my friends and my associates, if you look at the film Aadu, there is not even a single person serious in that. Not even a single person. Everybody is one or other kind of idiot.
Yeah.
So that...
yeah, usually in comedies there will be one character for the audience to relate to, but even that is not there.
No.
Yeah.
They can go with any character because everybody is equally stupid. that was the design of Aadu. Actually, I conceived it that way. Let's make a nonsensical film. But when I released the first part, it didn't work out in the theaters. But later...
Was it a very disappointing time for you?
Yeah, of course. Of course, I thought it's going to be a huge commercial hit, Aadu 1. Because all my comedy numbers were accepted in Om Shanti Vashana. I tried another derivative of that same comedy and it got rejected. Then I was so confused. What is happening? I couldn't digest.
But didn't the positive talk start almost 10-15 days later?
No, after the release of DVD.
It's only after the DVD. Okay.
Only after the DVD release. But the DVD sales, that was phenomenal. And they had to print and master so many copies again and again because it was there was huge customer demand for that DVDs. And
actually, do you meet people who actually saw it in the theater? I myself saw it on torrents. So I think most people you meet today who are fans of yours are probably people who've seen it on the computer.
Yeah, computer, then torrent. But after the release of Aadu 2, so many people told me, we love Aadu 1.
Of course.
It's a better film than Aadu 2. And some of them told me I watched in theater, then I liked it. I will watch it again in theaters if you are releasing it. Because we love Aadu 1. Aadu 1 is actually the original nonsensical film that we like. And Aadu 2 is a bit more commercial. But luckily, that also worked out. So, doing humor is difficult than making a thriller.
Okay, let me go a little deeper into that point. Take Sharafuddin's character Anjam Padara. Okay, and you take any one of the characters in Aadu. Is the process of detailing a character or writing a character the same? Because you eventually it's all like fictional, right? You have to keep going into that character, keep giving him traits, giving them a history, giving them motivations,
backstories.
So in a comedy, even if it's a nonsensical comedy,
but the process is the same.
Is the same. So that character just has to come to you.
The process is the same. We will think about this particular character's backstories, his origin story, where this guy is coming from, what could be the family backgrounds, everything. But when you create, or not me, you or anybody, any writer creates a serious character like Benjamin Lewis and Anjam Padira. That is, now I understand that is a bit more, a bit painful. Because the writing part is a bit painful.
You have to go into that depressive state of mind.
I actually do, because when I wrote that Biju Menon's character in Garudan also, it was actually a painful process. But on the contrary, when you write Shaji Papan,
there's a distance.
It is actually...
You cannot be that stupid in real life to write it.
No, it's actually very entertaining. When I write some dialogues, even I smile, I laugh alone. This is going to work. Because Shaji Papan would say this. That process is... Both character developments I enjoy, but one is actually a bit painful, but the other one is hilarious actually. But which one do I like more? I like creating serious characters.
But tell me this, okay, let's say there is a stage where you finish writing a movie like Ozler. Then of course Jayaram sir comes into the film, and then that character starts to have a shape and a form and all that. But by which day on the sets do you instinctively know that, okay, that is not the way Ozler would react, or this is not something Ozler would say? How many days does it take for you with the visual character to understand this is not that character or this is that character?
1 or 2 days.
That's all?
1 or 2 days. We would definitely have an idea. This is how Abraham Ozler is going to walk. This is how Abraham Ozler is going to react to particular situations. That is actually a director's idea. We would convey that to the artist, and he would try enacting it. And 1 or 2 days it would take max for a good actor to get into that character and to give more than what we expect. But our inputs should be always perfect, and we should not have any confusions. As filmmaker, we should not have any confusion while narrating the character sketches to an artist. If we have a complete clarity in our mind, then for an artist, the conceiving process would be very easy. No confusions would be there. And slowly getting into, actually conceiving a character means getting into another mindset, that mindset, into another mindset, totally getting into another person's soul and mind and everything. So that takes maybe 1 or 2 days. That's it. Sometimes 3 days. That's it.
No, but at least in this case, you've got that character, you've written Ozler, and in that process where you are deciding that Jayaram sir is going to play this character. So at every stage, at least as an audience, is it going to be a Jayaram that we've never seen before? Or at least in the decision making phase, you're like, okay, actually he's done a little bit of that in a movie like Ivar, or he's done a little bit of that in a movie like some other example. How does it work, or is it complete reinvention?
I actually tried and went for a complete reinvention. And 98% of the film, I have tried to bring out a totally new Jayaram. And he needed my support only 3 or 4 days. And after that, he got into the mood, he got into the character, he got into the mannerisms. When you see the trailer, you would understand that. He's a totally different person in this. And I actually am happy that he took that effort. He went that extra mile to conceive this character, and he enacted it so well. And he's a 100% professional. He's never late to the sets. He's never eager to leave early. He comes and he delivers. And he listens to what the director has to say every time before every shot. So directing him was actually a delight to me. Now when I look back, Jayaram is a director's delight.
And what I really love from the trailer is how, of course we've grown up watching him. We are huge fans of his, but he's got the stature of a police officer. He's really big built and strong, but in 1 second he can be vulnerable. Without any change in body language or any particular action, you can feel that he's a man who's not 100% strong or confident in with that case.
He's not at all rigid. He's very flexible. He can change in seconds. He's a blessed artist, as you said. We all know he's a blessed artist, and his vulnerabilities are well exploited in this film, and his strong areas are exploited. So I guess if this film works out, hopefully, if this film works out, Abraham Ozler is going to be one of the memorable characters of.
Of course, we are really expecting that. Did you ever have any doubt about, let's say, the film-going audience right now are 18 to 25, right? So maybe other than the reruns that they've seen on TV or on DVD, they've not really seen many Jayaram movies in the theatre. Do you think that is something as a director you should be worried about?
No.
You don't have to think about that part of an actor, right?
I actually thought about only one thing. I told my team as well, let's try to make a good film. If the film is good, maybe for the first show, people would come in less numbers. But if the word of mouth is good, then from the second day or for the second show onwards, people would start pouring in. That is actually the recent trend in Malayalam cinema. If your film is good, the artist doesn't matter, the technicians doesn't matter, the word of mouth, that is the only thing matters. Your film has to be good. So I didn't even think about the numbers when we started the film, and now also I don't think about the numbers or the populace that is going to come to the screen.
First screen,
for first show. Whoever likes me, Jayaram, and a lot of other artists are there, and a lot of thriller fans are out there. So I'm counting on the thriller fans. Previously, when I released Anjam Badra, I still remember.
It was a slow start, right?
For the first show, there weren't much people to watch it. Maybe half of the theatres were full. But from the second show onwards, we started to get houseful shows, and by evening, so many theatres added late night shows. So that is the history of my previous thriller.
Now, another thing I wanted to ask you is about how you became a thriller fan. Okay. Of course, you mentioned how you used to read thriller novels and all that, but at least from the kind of Malayalam thrillers that you grew up watching, can you remember the phase where you thought that, okay, this is your thing, this is why you wanted to get into movies?
Okay.
Because otherwise, generally, you see a lot of people getting into movies to write romances or probably those coming of age movies or dramas and all that. But in your case, this thriller is a very different thing, right? So can you take me back to that period?
I fell in love with movies when I was like in my UP school. I'm coming from a very remote village in Wayanad district. So we didn't even have electricity at that time, not even in our neighborhood. So that time we used to have that battery connected black and white television. So in DD1, I guess, they used to show Malayalam films at Sunday, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock that time. So I started watching old Malayalam films, black and white films in a black and white television. Then slowly electricity came in our neighboring houses, and I started watching color films telecast by DD1, telecast in DD1. And the thriller memory, I guess, was the first one was
Okay.
That was telecast one day, and I watched it and I was like, wow. I was scared. I was surprised. I was so bloody impressed. So this is what a thriller film is. That was a wonderful experience. Then CBI. I think I watched the first and second CBI in DD1 as well itself. So there was no other option. So then slowly I began to I fell in love with
thrillers. The impact these three movies is way more than other movies.
Yeah.
You are feeling it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still I remember the impact it had on me was huge and immense. Then I slowly started reading. Then the very wonderful thing happened to me during the initial reading phase was I started to read the translation of Sherlock Holmes, Malayalam translation of Sherlock Holmes by DC Books. I don't know who translated that. So many.
You read Malayalam?
Yeah, I read Malayalam. That was when I was in high school. I fell in love with that detective. Of course, everybody falls in love with Holmes. It is inevitable. So I fell in love with Sherlock Holmes, and I thought, okay, writing suspense thrillers is a very wonderful thing, because there are so many other kinds of writers around us in Kerala, in Malayalam as well. So many drama writers are there, then romantic writers are there. But when it comes to detective fiction, nobody touched my mind except Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and his Sherlock Holmes. Then I read Agatha Christie, but Hercule Poirot, he was there, but still
not the same impact.
They didn't have the same impact like Doyle and Holmes. That was another colorful memory regarding thrillers. So then when I got into my degree first year, I started reading English fiction. At that time, till that point, I was reading Malayalam. Then I started reading English fiction. I started with Harry Potter. Okay, this is easy to read. Let's start with this. Then I started reading Harry Potter books, and by 2-3 books, after finishing 2-3 books, I slowly mastered how to read
the big books.
Big books in English. Initially, I sought the help of a dictionary. Then I went to college library, and I started reading Sidney Sheldon and James Hadley Chase. And from there was no turning back. It was going ahead.
So what are your friends thinking about you? That he's this crazy guy who only reads thrillers?
No. I had a couple of friends who
read even more.
Even more thrillers. Then slowly I started to watching. When you get into college, you have a lot of freedom.
Free time.
Of course, you bunk classes. And I watched a lot of English films during that time. I studied in Sultan Bathery for degree, St. Mary's College. So I watched a lot of English films from a lot of theaters. 4 or 5 theaters were there at that time. So I watched a lot of English films, action thrillers. So many English films during that time, and slowly I think I got addicted to thrillers. So it has created a deep impact inside me as a reader. Then when I began to started to think of writing stories, of course, normally the first thoughts that would come out would be in the form of thrillers. That's how this particular thriller addiction happened to me. Now when I think about any story, initially I could think of thrillers only. Then deliberately I changed it, and I thought of a couple of humor and feel-good films, and one of them happened to be Om Shanti Oshana. But initially, everything I thought, I contemplated, everything was in the form of thrillers.
Can you tell me the one-liner of one thriller that you thought about that time, which maybe now might seem immature and silly, but at least as an idea that really excited you from then?
All right. There was this particular political thriller. It was the story of a boy who is coming from a very common background, a very poor background, we can say, and he wanted to become the chief minister of Kerala. And this guy, he used to read a lot, and his idol was Chandragupta Maurya. So he designed 10 commandments for himself. So after completing his +2, he entered a college campus with his 10 commandments in his mind, of course, 10 commandments, and he slowly executes all these commandments one by one, and finally, after a lot of twists and turns, this guy, it's a shady character, grey.
He'll do anything to
succeed. And he slowly, eventually, he becomes the CM of the state. That was the movie which I wanted to do as my first film. I tried doing that for a long time, but I couldn't, do it due to so many reasons. But that was the first. The
idea that gave you the dream of
becoming a writer. Actually, there was another story. No, I can't tell you that. That might become a movie. That is my very first story.
Okay.
I can't tell you the details because it might become a cinema, because that is a story which is relevant even today till this.
But that is so good, right? Before you understood anything about movie making, before you understood the practical difficulties of filmmaking, an idea that you had 15-20 years ago is still manageable. It's still workable.
It's valid. Even now, if I want to, I can make that a film. I might make it a film. So I'm not disclosing you.
Is it a big budget film?
No,
it's not. Okay.
No. But the character is. I like that character a lot because that is my first child.
Baby.
Baby.
Okay, my last question to you: what would you call is some of the best thrillers in Indian cinema? Let's not go into Hollywood. But among the Indian movies that you think call great thrillers, what would you name? You can include, of course, from Malayalam.
So many films are there. So many films. In Hindi, Wednesday is a wonderful film. D-Day is a wonderful film.
D-Day, of course. Nice,
D-Day is a wonderful film. I like Akshay Kumar's Baby.
Of course,
Then Kahani. Then those films from Hindi. Then in Tamil, recently I watched a couple of years back, Rakshasan came out.
Of course,
I liked it. Ajit Sir's Enniyar Indal, it was a decent theatrical watch. I liked it. Then Vettayadu Vilayadu. During that time, when it's released, I think I was studying for my post-graduation. I was very much impressed.
The serial killers.
The Vettayadu Vilayadu. I was very much impressed watching that in theaters. And me and my friends, I remember discussing the film, and we used to discuss like this. That's just Hollywood stuff. So Vettayadu Vilayadu is there. Then when it comes to Malayalam, of course, Jayaram is a dear friend of mine, Drishyam. It has got a huge impact on me.
But by that time, you are already a filmmaker, right?
My film hasn't released yet. The shooting was done. So then, of course, the CBI series. Then
do you remember watching Drishyam the first time?
Yeah. My Facebook post is there. I was shocked.
What was your feeling after the first half?
First half I was like, okay, where is this going?
Where is this going?
Yeah, where is this going? Then after the climax shot, I was like, how did this guy pull this off? I was so bloody jealous.
Yeah.
At that time I didn't know him.
Yeah.
Later on I told him, I was so jealous. Not only me, the whole world was jealous.
Yeah.
I was so jealous about Jittu Chetan after watching Drishyam. Then the CPI franchise, then Moonamura. I watched it when I was a kid. Moonamura was amazing. Yabaniga was amazing. So countless thrillers are there. All the thrillers embraced by people, they are my favorite thrillers. I like all of them. I cannot say this is my personal favorite, nothing like that. All the thrillers accepted by people.
Okay, apart from these main films, what would you say is, what would you recommend for maybe today's generation who might not have seen a classic thriller from the 80s or 90s?
I would, of course, definitely recommend Yavaniga. It's a masterpiece from the master director, K.G. George. It's not actually master director, master yeah. K.G. George. Then I would recommend Aditi Dolle. The second one I would recommend is Eethanathavulu Pangalathu, as I have mentioned earlier. It is an evergreen thriller to me. Then, yeah, those two films I would strongly recommend. But I think the cinephiles in Kerala,
they would have already taken
they might have already watched both of the films. But these two films are my personal favorites. When I was a kid, I was fascinated by these two films. Then definitely I would recommend the films from Tony Scott, David Fincher, all those amazing craftsmen.
And with Fincher, I think you've paid quite a few tributes as well, right?
Definitely. I'm a huge fanboy. I can't help it.
What's your favorite Fincher film?
I like almost all his films. I like starting with The Game.
The Game?
Yeah.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah. From that onwards, I'm a huge fan of his. Then The Mindhunters, I cannot forget that that series. And even his recent release, The Killer, I watched it. So he has got a particular mastery over this mystery, the storytelling of this mysterious plots. So I would definitely recommend David Fincher to all the thriller fans, of course. And again,
of course, yeah,
those are one of the first names. Then Tony Scott as well.
Tony Scott, yeah. But tell me the last question, just a not very serious question, but what is your family's point of view, or what is your best friend's point of view when they have to deal with somebody who thinks in thriller? Are you fundamentally a very suspicious person? Are you fundamentally 50% of the time does your mind work like a criminal's? Or are you always a little in the dark zone? Because you mentioned getting into the dark zone to become this character.
Yeah.
What is the occupational hazard of being a thriller lover?
My wife has now started telling me to make a comedy film because she has noticed that I've gone so moody lately. But actually I have not. I'm thinking about so many stories and plots, and all the writers would be overthinking people. We would not be present in this world half of the time. That is a reality. Then when we think about thrillers and dark subjects, the thing is she has observed that it is affecting my mood as well. I don't know whether it is true or not, but for a couple of years more I would be in this zone. Then I would be switching genre once again
into the Ardhatri zone, hopefully.
Yeah, that I would do, because a promise is a promise. That is a promise which I intend to deliver. Then one of my favorite genres is there, unexplored. So I am going to explore that, which I am going to keep as a suspense.
Fantasy?
Oh. Not simply fantasy.
Okay. Science fiction fantasy?
No, epic fantasy.
Epic fantasy.
Yeah.
Okay.
A little more bigger scale.
Okay.
Or I am going to go for historic fiction.
Okay, awesome.
So, but when we mention those genres, the budget itself is heavy, you know. Epic fantasy, historic fiction.
500 crores.
Yeah. It comes with a minimum 100 crore price tag.
Correct. Yeah.
So that is for another time.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Midhun.
All right.
I'm looking forward to watching the movie and having another discussion with you. Maybe at that time we can discuss some points from Anjam Padar as well.
Sure.
Thanks so much.
Okay, thank you.